Hi guys, I wanted to talk about Landscape Photographer of the Year. For those of you that don't know, that's a UK nationwide photography competition for the genre of landscape. It does have various categories within it. I think some of them are called things like Your View and Living the View and things. So it's quite diverse. You don't just have the classic landscape type images in there. You have people within doing things in the landscape, using the land and so on. Now, in an earlier video that I did some time ago about photographic competitions, the Landscape Photographer of the Year was one which I celebrated, that I said I really enjoyed seeing the results of, and I felt it was quite diverse, and I said many other things. But I'm a little disappointed by this year's results. Now, not disappointed at the photographers and their images per se, but I'm disappointed by the judges. Why am I disappointed by the judges? Mainly because I think they got it wrong. I really do. Now, this is coming back to back with my call for critiques. So, when you send your landscape images in and I go through them, you'll be able to understand how I view in your images and what I look for and what I feel are, good and bad things about images with strong and weak elements of them. But what I was disappointed with was not the images, as I said, per se, because they're all pretty good images, or at least in most part. But even the winning image, which is an image of taken in Glencoe, I believe. The problem I have with it is they seem to be going back to really mundane, everyday type landscape imagery, which many of us, particularly the more hardy of you, will be getting on a regular weekend out or a short trip to those sorts of locations. I was really hoping, as I said in my previous video, that the judges were going to go a little bit outside of their comfort zones and start promoting imagery with some subtle differences, being a bit, being different really, giving us a new angle on landscape photography, because like everything, it constantly evolves. We see that a lot right now in street photography in particular. What we might regard as classical street photography was, Cartier-Bresson and Curtiz and people like that, which were telling stories of people in the street mostly. But what's incredibly common at the moment, and not everybody likes it, I'm not particularly a big fan of it, is this kind of real heavy contrast, this shadow play, where you have sort of a shadow of a building with harsh lines, harsh shadow angles and triangles and leading lines and geometry, and you'll have usually one or two people just caught in the light, or the opposite, or in silhouette. So that's an example of evolving, evolution in a genre. And so I feel the evolution in the genre of landscape photography at the moment is coming away from the very typical, the very everyday type stuff. And the very everyday type stuff for me, and I'm guilty of doing it, I do it. My issue is not with people doing it. My concern is that it's winning competitions now, so we're not really moving forward. Of the, low down, whether it's portrait or landscape orientation, something in the foreground, rocks or something, I think in this case it's some icy water, and then just the well-known hero shot peak or tree or whatever in the background there, filling the rest of the frame or most of it. And when I saw it, I just remember feeling really dissatisfied. I was, and then there was another one which was a runner-up, which was a very quite muddy black and white photo of somebody fishing from some rocks. And again, I thought, this is the sort of stuff which many of us have passed at some earlier sort of point in our development of becoming photographers. Again, I'm not putting those images down, and if you are any of those creators and you see this video, I apologise, I'm really not picking on you. What I'm picking on, I suppose, if I'm blunt, is the judging process, because they're not getting out of their comfort zones. And I've seen images by many other photographers, because some people actually put up their entries on their websites, or they might show them off in a different way. They might personally know me. And I've seen what was entered, and I know what went instantly onto the cutting room floor, so to speak. They didn't get past the first stage, the first round. And I see some of that imagery, in my opinion, as being much stronger, different, more that they're experimental. They're taking a bit of risk, and I think that's what we need to see. And those images didn't get past the first round. Some really great stuff, and to go together with that, some of the images which were that's unfair. I know what it feels like to be in the book, so it's quite an honour. But some of the images were commended and runners up and just winners of certain categories. I felt were much stronger than the winning image. And I know that a lot of other people have been saying similar things. If you've noticed in the press and generally speaking on forums and that, there's not a lot of talk. People are just shrugging their shoulders at it. And I think since about 2014, where the entries were particularly strong, I remember that stood out. That was when Mark Littlejohn won it. Since then, there's been a few, but some of the winning images have been, in my opinion, a bit meh. A little bit sort of boring. Really, I've said it. They really are. Cracking images, quality, techniques. There, all the things which we all have to attain to, but to win a UK national, some people regard the UK, depending where you are, as one of the homes of landscape photography. We've got the Lake District, we've got the Peak District, we've got the Lake District, sorry, I already said Lake District, we've got the Scottish Highlands, we've got the South West Coast, we've got some beautiful stuff on this little island, which can knock the socks off some places, even in Iceland and places like that. And so people really put this competition up on a pedestal, and I love Charlie Way. I've met the guy, I've been taught by Charlie personally. I'm an absolute fan. And even if you look at Charlie's work, you can see he does landscape photography that bit differently. There's even today, and he did a lot of it decades ago, it still looks original. Yet the winning image of his competition this year, and one or two of them previously, have been... I'm just surprised. I think they need to change all the judges. Sorry if you're one of the judges and you see this. You need to change your guard. Maybe you recently have, maybe that's what the problem is, I don't know. But some of the images I've seen didn't even get past the first round, and then I look at some of the ones in the finals. Okay, it's just my opinion. I just disagree with it, all right? But I'm not the only one, and I think a lot of people are a little bit disappointed in that. It may be that the competition's got so big, there's so much to get through, it's almost like a lottery. It really well may be that. But if I was a judge, and I can speak as having been judges, and I do critiques and I do teach, so I've got a little bit of knowledge in this area, I must admit, I'll be blunt, the winning image would have been, that's great, but we need something bigger than this to win this competition. And it goes the same for a couple of although I see the artistic strength in them, I see where the judges are coming from, and there's some of the ones previously, there's a couple of shoreline ones I remember, yet there was still something lacking, some punch. But anyway, go check out the results and look at some of the runners-up and the commended images and see what you think. But if you might agree with me, but I think a lot of them are as strong, if not stronger, than the final winning image. I even tried to look up the final winning image creator on Instagram, and he's got an Instagram account, or she, I don't know who it is, and they don't have any content. So I can't even go and look at their work further, because I don't know how the judges work. Maybe they explore the broader body of work and think, this is landscape photographer overall of the year based on not just the winning image, but maybe I don't know, do they look at the other body of work, or could you really win landscape photographer of the year with a one-off image? I don't know. Anyway, say what you think below and go and have a look first. If you disagree with me, like I always say, tell me so. But I think most of you will think, yeah, nice image, but it's not memorable in any way, and for me that's real key. I think that you'll see it and you'll forget it, but there are others there which you won't. See what you think, let me know. Bye for now.